Sean, we've announced the new master plan for the club, the redevelopment of Grace Road. Just how excited are you with that vision?
Yeah, great question, Jack. I think for us here at Leicestershire, I think that it demonstrates a new chapter for the club. So really excited by it. The reaction that we've had over the past week since we officially unveiled it at the members forum has been tremendous. So really pleased, really excited. But I guess the hard work starts now.
Obviously, it is a very ambitious plan, but we did announce it last week to our members before the press got a look at it. How excited were they at that exclusive look?
Yeah, I was really pleased with the questions and the enthusiasm shown at the members forum by our members that saw this for the first time. There are a couple of things I picked up really from our members about the vision, and they kind of liked what we were talking about in the 5-year / 8-year strategy, as well as what the ground might look like in years to come. So for me, they're incredibly important to the future of the club. And actually, just digressing slightly, what was really encouraging at that meeting was the number of new members that actually came along and were part of it. So I think we're growing, and I think that relationship between club and members is incredibly important, that dialogue. And as I sort of said when we announced the release, I want them to be part of the journey and help us along the way, because if we are to achieve this, then we have to do it together. We've all got to be in this together and fight in the same direction.
Obviously, part of that was to have early consultations with the fans. It's still in its initial processes. So just what has happened so far?
Yeah, a lot. An awful lot of work has been going on. And it's not just that members forum that took place last Monday. This has been 18 months of discussions with all sorts of bodies, from the ECB to individuals out in the county, to the city council, the county council, philanthropic individuals, people that have knowledge of Grace Road and the ground. So that's been kind of building momentum behind the scenes. And I guess the crescendo to that came last Monday and Tuesday when we announced it to the public as well. So a lot of dialogue's gone on behind, and we've spoken to architects and research consultants as well. And all that knowledge has been put into a melting pot to actually create some sort of vision. Now it's about consultation period. So over a bit of time is continuing those dialogue. And I've had one or two of those already. A lot of people have kind of come to me on the back of the announcement. So it's really gaining all that information and due diligence to actually then really put together a real concrete plan on how we go forward.
And one of the key messages, obviously, you're outlining in those messages and the release is just how important it is to the club's long-term future for us to thrive and, of course, survive primarily. So how important is it for the club to sustain its future?
Massive. That can't be underestimated, really. I think, as we said at the members forum, that when you look at the ground, the Uptonsteel ground, there are very few revenue opportunities that are actually contributing to the bottom line. Those that do very well. So the hospitality at the club, the conference and banqueting, the concerts that we have, great. But we need more than that. Our revenues have to increase if we are really to compete and develop as a cricket club. Hence why the master plan. We've got to look at ways in which the ground can really contribute to the cricket. And I think, as I sort of said at that meeting, there are 3 elements to it: a commercial element, an educational element, and of course a cricket element. We're a cricket club after all, so we've got to play cricket, but we want the best cricket possible to be played here with the best facilities. So we've got to create a plan that can deliver that. And I think, as I explained, there are probably phases to it. And phase 1, hopefully, will start soon. I'm sure we'll come on to that. But for me, the master plan demonstrates a way forward for Leicestershire and how we can really become a very sustainable, very successful cricket club in hopefully not the too distant future.
I guess that's the beauty of the plan, that it is sort of symbiotic in that everything works together. It will help us become a stronger cricket club on the field, as well as being more sustainable off the field. You touched on there the phases of the plan. Obviously, again, it's just early days at the moment with a lot of background stuff behind the scenes. What does the future look like in terms of that timeline for each individual phase?
Yeah, there are probably 3 or 4 phases that we now need to work on. And I think phase 1 is probably the Melton Mowbray quadrant of the ground, where that presents possibly the greatest opportunity for us to build something commercially for the club, which then, of course, will generate income back into the club. That then allows us then to crack on with phase 2, which is maybe the education stroke cricket part of things. I mean, they're the finer detail, and I'll come on to the next stages in a moment. But phase 1 is about how we can create something that generates commercial income and serves a purpose for Leicestershire. That work has to start now. And for me, that's probably the most important part. Of course, there are other conversations taking place. So I met with the ECB last week, discussed our plan again in a bit more detail. And each time we meet, there's a bit more detail in there. And we're talking about media facilities, talking about indoor school facilities, all those things that will make Leicestershire and our ground one of the best on the circuit. So lots to be done, but you start with phase 1. I mentioned there, what's next? What's next is creating a working party. So at the moment, we're looking at creating a number of individuals that have certain expertise that get together that can actually then really start to create the plans. Those conversations are taking place now. So that will happen very, very shortly. And I would hope within the next 4 to 6 weeks, you'll begin to see that working party come together.
Obviously, it's generated a lot of interest from fans, from other clubs as well. Really exciting times for the club. One main question that's come out really is how that we can fund this plan, £60 million. So you've been talking, haven't you, to a lot of investors, and you know, you want to detail who they are and what they can bring to the club.
Yeah, dead right. I mean, that's always the case, isn't it? How it's great having the vision, but how do you actually finance a project like this? And I know that's been a big question from our supporters. So the way you go about it is discussions with finance. It's a bit like a mortgage. You take out a mortgage over a period of time, you pay that mortgage back, but also then use some of the capital to keep reinvesting into the club. And the discussions we had with commercial partners out there, at this moment in time, I can't say who they are because we're still in that consultation period. But those commercial partners are helping us finance the project. And in so doing, then means we can build it, then means we can generate income, then we can pay that mortgage off. And for us, that's been what's been really interesting with my phone and my inbox. So many emails coming in of people wanting to talk to us. I've got to make sure, along with the working party, that Leicestershire is protected. We can deliver a business plan that can generate income, that can pay those loans that we might need to take away to build the ground. All that are part of the business plan, which kind of really starts now. But I'm certainly very excited by the forecasts that we've done to date. And I think what we would see is hopefully a project within the next 3 to 5 years being built that then generates income back into the club. That means we can kick on with phase 2.
And just finding, obviously, on the back of this interest, it's really generated a spike in membership as well. Fans getting really excited about the future of Uptonsteel County Ground and Leicestershire on the pitch as well. So what is the reaction you've seen on that kind of thing?
Do you know what, Jack? It's been excellent. Really, really encouraging. I think the club has worked extremely hard over the winter. And as you've seen, you've been involved in announcements like Rahane joining us, Rayan playing for England, of course. So Leicestershire has been really in the spotlight this winter, and we're building. And that's always been part of the strategy, building for the next step and then the next step. And what I think is really important to us, is crucial to us, is, as I've said it a million times before, the lifeblood of the club is the membership. And what we're seeing now, and we saw on Monday night, the number of new members that are actually getting involved in the club. I asked the question, put your hand up if you're a new member. And it was great to see a number of new hands go up. So for me, we're seeing that membership growth. And I know we've still got a bit of time before that first game of the season. So I'd encourage people out there, be part of it, part of the journey, become a member of the club, because it's exciting. And you get loads of benefits around that as well. So no better time to be supportive of Leicestershire, involved in the club and what we're about to bring for the forthcoming season.